To buy or not to buy a home in 2021?
That is the question.
That is the question. Joanna, what do you think?
Okay. Should you buy a house in 2021?
Here, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of buying a house.
I think we should really start off with it depending on how long you plan to live in the home.
Yes, especially with the way the market is right now. Things are taking a little bit longer than they normally do just because it is such a seller's market. But I don't think that that's a negative reason or a reason why you shouldn't buy a home right now.
Absolutely. So the pros to buying a home in 2021 or in general, I mean, whether you buy in 2021 5 years from now or you bought 5 years ago, there's always a lot of advantages to buying now versus waiting to buy in the future.
Right.
The first one being, specifically in this market, a low interest rate.
Yes, that's definitely crucial in buying your home, especially right now.
Right, because interest rates are historically low. That is the reason why we are in the market that we are, is because buyers are trying to take advantage of that low interest rate. And if you can lock in a home at under 3% or close to 3%,
That saves you so much in the long run.
right, and even if you do come back with a 3.25 or 3.5, I mean, look back on the past 10 years and how, I mean, within those 10 years, when have interest rates been this low?
Never. I don't think I've never seen it.
No, you had to be insane. You had to have, amazing credit score. Everything had to be perfectly in line for you to be able to even get close to that number.
Right.
So low interest rates is a huge reason why buying in 2021 makes perfect sense.
Yes, and I'd also say I'm a strong believer that buying now versus later is always going to be beneficial to you, because you buy today versus next year, you're already going to be locking in that equity on the home, regardless of what you're going to be paying, because home prices are always going to be appreciating in value.
Real estate is very forgiving overall, and I think that even if, say, you do come in 10 over market value, you know that over time that price that you locked in is yours. So whether the property appreciates at a 5%, whatever interest rate it appreciates at, or whatever amount it appreciates at, you're gonna not only recuperate that 10%, but even more than that 10%.
Yeah.
Just whether and if you had waited another year or another 2 years for the market to cool off, you've lost that time.
All of that.
Right? Because let's be honest, time is money.
It is.
So the sooner, the better.
The sooner the better. And then also, one of the other pros that there are to buying right now is there are tax advantages to buying a home. One, you're not, well, in purchasing your own home versus renting, you're going to be paying your own mortgage versus somebody else's mortgage. So you're always going to be paying a mortgage, and it's more beneficial to pay yours than somebody else's. But there are tax advantages.
Writing off your mortgage insurance, for example.
You can do that. There are homestead exemptions. There are over 65 exemptions. There are, if you own property, you can get an agricultural exemption. And if you're a veteran, there are also some exemptions for you depending on what you classify at, or what you qualify for.
Absolutely, but there are a lot of tax advantages to buying now versus buying later. If you rent, you're not going to have access to those.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whether you plan on living in the property for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, you can write off those taxes the upcoming tax season. So that's definitely something to take advantage of. Some of the cons of buying in 2021.
Well, there are bidding wars. But I will say, yes, that's a con, but as long as you've got a strong agent behind you, that shouldn't be a hiccup.
If you have a strong agent behind you, it shouldn't be impossible.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to, as Ashley mentioned earlier, it might take a little bit longer, but it shouldn't be an impossible task. If
No.
you've got the right agent, writing the right offers, being realistic about the specific property that you're looking at, then yes, the process might take a little bit longer, but eventually you will find the right home.
Yes. I know another con that we're facing right now is homes going over asking price. And yes, that is true. I do know a lot of listing agents, though, right now that are strategically pricing their homes so that they're not going to go drastically over. You just got to find the right deal for you, and in most cases right now, at least I know I am seeing, and I think you're seeing, a lot of our buyers aren't having to pay they're not having to pay way over asking price, and they're still getting a good deal.
Right, and there are people who always want to come in under asking price, and there's nothing that we can do to change that. So if you are the person that absolutely is not willing to pay more than the asking price, or going above the asking price or the market value if it's priced properly, then it may not be the time to buy for you.
Yeah.
Because unless the property is wanted by absolutely no one else in the market, we know that it's going to fly off the shelf. So with that being said, if you are the person that you always want to come in under with positive equity, then it may not be the right time for you.
Yeah.
But for the most
part, we're getting people into a good deal for them.
Absolutely.
And then if your time frame is super critical, say you have to be out of your apartment in the next month, I'm not going to say it's not doable, but it's not ideal.
Right, it's going to be a very tight situation to be in, and that's definitely a con to buying in 2021, is that you do have to have a little bit more flexibility as far as where you are staying now, maybe going month to month on your lease, or leasing for another 3 months or 6 months depending on the property that you're in, or if you're currently selling your home in order to buy your new home, then maybe putting the home on the market now and then finding a temporary a place to stay, and then giving yourself that flexibility, because it's very important in 2021 to be flexible.
It is.
So that can either be a pro or a con. If you're in a situation where you can be flexible, that's definitely a good thing about buying this year. And if you're in a situation that's not as flexible, then it might be a little bit more difficult, and that's when you really want to, figure out if it is the right time to buy.
And I would say all of these situations kind of vary based on who you are and what circumstances you're in. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, talk to your agent, and they can help advise you on what would be best for you.
Or we can.
We
always
definitely
advise
can help.
Absolutely. So, yeah, buy your house in 2021. Or
Yeah.
don't buy it.
Or don't. But definitely buy.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And comment below if you learned anything, if you want us to talk about a certain topic, or if you just want to provide some feedback. We'd love to chat with you about any questions you may have.
We'll see you next time. I don't like that.